Isn't it up to the government to sort this out?
I don't think you can say they're, a union, quite a radical union, led by an individual who I believe has links to the Communist Party, makes a series of unreasonable demands which we don't meet, and therefore these are conservative strikes and we're to blame for that. That is absolutely not the case. I think the demands that they've been making have been unreasonable. We've actually had quotes from various people at the RMT saying they do not want to negotiate with a Conservative or Tory government, whatever they call it. So I think these are ultimately the responsibility of the RMT rail union, not held by the Labour Party.
In saying that, you say they're unreasonable. We've heard from them today. They're looking for a 7% pay rise. That's below, must be said, quite a lot below the rate of inflation at the moment. Inflation is expected to get even higher. So in real terms, it is still a cut. And frankly, there's a cost of living crisis. It's not that surprising. Some people, some workers want to see higher pay at this time. Is it that unreasonable?
Let me be absolutely clear here. There's a fact, there's a reality. The median pay for rail workers is £44,000. For train drivers, it's £59,000. The majority of my constituents who have been most severely disrupted and negatively impacted by these strikes this week, more than likely will be on salaries far lower than both of those averages. Yes, there is a cost of living challenge caused by global inflationary pressures. Inflation higher than it's been for decades. I get that, I understand that. But ultimately, we don't want to make the situation worse by fuelling a whole load of unsustainable increases in public sector pay across a number of different sectors. So, yes, by all means have a discussion and negotiation, but that isn't what the rail unions want. They've been determined to go down this route for a long time. For them, this is about politics, it's about their own political agenda. And I think that's a great shame, because there's going to be many of my constituents who are going to be paying for this through the chaos that we're going to see today, on Thursday, Saturday, and also Saturday the 2nd of July for my constituents.
In saying that, it's been reported today that the government are going to lift barriers on the pay of directors and non-executive directors in the City of London. If they were that concerned about pay inflation, why is the government allowing that to happen? It seems, yet again, and many people, there'll be many viewers saying, you earn a very decent salary, more than twice what a train driver does, and yet you're telling them to keep their pay down, that they say, frankly, it's all pretty unfair.
No, I think we've got to look at the situation as it is. We're talking about rail workers who have a median pay of £44,000, drivers of £59,000, going forward with a pay increase of 7% or 9%, which is what they're originally asking for. At this moment in time, I think would risk further fueling inflation. It would make a challenging situation even more challenging. Right, we've got to avoid these strikes. And why haven't the Labour Party clearly condemned them? We know the Labour Party are in receipt of hundreds of thousands of pounds from the rail unions, and instead of actually clearly condemning these strikes, we've actually got 16 Labour MPs part of those strikes. 3 Labour shadow ministers are striking, despite an order from Keir Starmer saying that they shouldn't. So frankly, these raises serious questions about the Labour Party. Keir Starmer's trying to say the Labour Party has changed. He's trying to say they're not in hoc to the far left anymore. Well, there's no evidence of that this week.
Just finally, Tom, though, I mean, how sustainable is the government's position if this genuinely turns into a summer of discontent, if we see teachers and nurses and barristers and God knows who else walk out? I mean, it's not going to be sustainable for the government to suggest, frankly, this has got nothing to do with us.
Well, if a rail union continue to behave in the way they've been, which has been rail Trent, it's been 100% unproductive. With regards to this specific issue, in the short term, I don't really know what the way forward is. And I think and we look at the government, but ultimately Network Rail, the rail operating companies, they've come out saying exactly the same thing. The rail unions as it stands have been completely unreasonable, and until they are more realistic about having a discussion about a sustainable way of addressing the cost of living in relation to their members, then it's going to be very difficult to move forward, sadly.